Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Hope you all are good at home. It's week 4th, and in week 4th, we will cover the topic seed dispersal. Half of the topic we will cover in this video, and the rest in the next video. Before going towards detailed topic, first of all, we all should know what is seed dispersal. Seed dispersal is basically the movement and the transport of the seeds away from the parent plant. Everyone knows that plants cannot move. They have very limited mobility, and as a result, there is an issue of the dispersal. So there are several methods of the dispersal of the seeds in plants. Need for seed dispersal. Why there is need for seed dispersal? It's because of the competition between the plants. If the seeds will fall near the parent plant, the plants will compete with each other for light, water, and minerals. So, if we want the better growth of the plant, the seeds should be dispersed away from the parent plant. Every seed of a plant is different in structure, so that's why the mechanism or the method of dispersal is different for each plant. Seeds have different characteristics. These characteristics help seed travel far away at different places. Seed travel to become planted and grow. When the seed fall at a place, they will become a new plant. Types of seed dispersal. Seed dispersal is of many types according to the characteristics of the seeds and the structure of the seed. Seeds may be dispersed by the wind, maybe by the water, maybe by the animals. There are two ways seeds can be attached by the animals, or animals can eat and drop off the seeds by their waste. And seeds can also be dispersed by any sort of explosion. Types of seed dispersal. Seed dispersal is of many types according to the characteristics of the seeds and the structure of the seed. Seeds may be dispersed by the wind, maybe by the water, maybe by the animals. There are two ways seeds can be attached by the animals, or animals can eat and drop off the seeds by their waste. And seeds can also be dispersed by any sort of explosion. So we will have a look on the adaptation for the reproduction. Basically, the flowering plants reproduce by the seed dispersal, and there are many ways of seed dispersal. First method of seed dispersal is by wind, second is by water, third one is by animals, and fourth one is by explosion. We will read the detail of each and every method of seed dispersal one by one. So dispersal by wind. So what are the characteristics of the seeds which are dispersed by wind? Some of the seeds which are carried by wind, these seeds are very light in weight. Their weight is very less, they are very light. The seeds of the orchid are almost as fine as a dust. They are very lightweight, so they are as fine, they are as small as a dust particle. Many have hairy growths which act like the parachutes and carry the seed far away from the parent plant. The first characteristic is lightweight, and the second characteristic is the hairy growths which act as a parachute. The seeds of the dandelion are carried by the wind. Examples of the plants whose seeds are dispersed by the wind are dandelion and maple tree. The dandelion seeds use their light and feathery structure. They are light in weight and they are feathery, means that they are having the hairs on the seeds to stay afloat in the air, so that they can float, they can swing, or they can move in the air for a longer period of time. Maple seeds are aided by their light and wing-like structures. So these are two examples of the seeds which are dispersed by the wind. At the end of this lesson, question is asked from you that write down the characteristics of the seeds which are dispersed by wind. So you are having the two characteristics. In this video, you have read about the two or three characteristics. One is lightweight, hairy structure, and this, you have also read about the two examples now. So this is all about the seed dispersal by the wind. Now the next method of the seed dispersal is by water. So now we will read about the characteristics of the plants or the seeds which can be dispersed by the water. Trees that are located near the water use it to spread their seeds. These seeds often have an outer layer that keeps the seed dry or they are hairy in order to trap air bubbles. These seeds drop into the water and floats until the water pushes it onto the shore. Then the seeds sprouts into a tree. So from this paragraph, it is very obvious that the seeds which are dispersed by the water, they are also light in weight, they are also having a hairy structure, they are also having hairs on the body so that they can trap the air bubbles, and their outer layer is very oftenly very thick, or so that they can keep the seed dry for a longer period of time. Now, how are the seeds dispersed by the water? Water basically, and some water which is aquatic, we can also say aquatic, and some terrestrial means ground plant species use hydrochory. Hydrochory is basically the dispersal of the seeds by the water. Seeds can travel for extremely long distances depending on, they can also float on the surface of the water. They can also swim in the water, you can say. The water lily is one of the example of the plant. Water lily's flowers make a fruit that floats in the water for a while and then drops down to the bottom to take root on the floor of the pond. In dispersal by water, water lily and coconut, these are two examples of the seeds which are carried by the water. So wind dispersal seeds, examples we have read, dandelion and maple tree, and now the seeds which are dispersed by water, examples are very clear, water lily and coconut tree. Coconut can travel for thousands of kilometers across seas and oceans. The original coconut palms on South Sea Island grew from fruits which were carried there. This is one of the example, the original coconut palm on South Sea Islands, where the seed came from. It is from the mainland by the ocean currents. So this is one of the example which can show that the seeds can travel for a longer distances, and where they found the suitable place, they can sprout or give birth to a new plant. Here it is told to you finally that the dispersal methods and the seed characteristics. Basically, the seeds are dispersed by wind, water, animals, and splitting. But we have discussed the two methods here. First of all, wind and then water. So characteristics of these seeds are also listed. The seeds which are dispersed by wind, they are have the wing-like structures, maybe feathery structures, or maybe light in weight, or the light in weight. And now the seeds which are dispersed by water, they are having the fibrous husk like structure, means they are very light in weight, they are also hairy, they can float on the surface of the water. So we will discuss the rest of the characteristics in our upcoming video in the next week, where we will also cover the further seed dispersal by animals and splitting. Okay, at the last, your assignment is two questions you will do in the assignment. The first question is, and list any three characteristics of the seed dispersed by wind. Any three characters you can write down about the seeds which can be dispersed by the wind. It is very clear from the video and you can easily write. And list mean you will write down in points. The second question is, describe the characteristics of the seeds dispersed by water. Can you write down the characteristics of the seeds? It's very easy. I already told in the video that what are the characteristics of the seeds which are dispersed by water. They are also hairy. They can also having the husk-like structure. They are light in weight so that they can float in the water. And you also have to give the two examples of the plants whose seeds are dispersed by the water. And two examples I told you, one is the coconut tree and one is the water lily. So these are two examples. You will write down briefly the answer of these two questions in your notebooks. Thank you so much, students. Have a nice day. Take care. Allah Hafiz.